Yes, this is John from Flint Talk Radio today, and we're sitting here and we're talking about something that's not very pleasant. It's not a fun thing. It's a tragic thing, and it's one all too common here in the Flint area. Today we're sitting down and I'm talking with the family members of the murder victim, Pablo Lopez. He was killed, was it July 9th of 2011?
Yes.
Yes, and this crime is particularly egregious because unlike many of the crimes here, and I don't want to sound callous, but unlike a lot of the crimes here, this wasn't drug-related. He wasn't a player in this game of stupidity, of violence, and drugs. This is a decent, hardworking family man who was found murdered in his home over here on the east side, which is particularly even more egregious to me because it's just down the road from where the studio is at. And matter of fact, it's so upsetting. The family members who I'm talking to today, I'm talking, by the way, to his daughter, Tina Kowalczyk, and his daughter-in-law, Julie Lopez. And they're at different locations right now because it's very upsetting for them to come back into the area. So I can understand that. So I'm glad that they allowed me to even have this phone interview with them.
Thank you for having us, John.
Yeah, thank you again for allowing to have this happen. I saw you posted this a couple weeks ago. About a week ago, you posted on Facebook a page of Justice for Pablo, and I saw that and I read it, and it just triggered the memory. I remember seeing the flyers up soon after he was murdered. There's also we'll show pictures of the billboard that you had up. This is like a shocking. It should be more shocking. I think people should be more appalled that something like this happens, but it happens all too often in the Flint area. We'll go into it. Pablo was found murdered in his home. There's no rhyme or reason to this. He wasn't involved with the illegal drug trade. He wasn't involved in anything. He just how long ago did he live here on the east side?
I think it was about 18 or 19 years. He was in Burton before that, so he's been in Flint for many years, the Flint area for many years.
And I got your you sent me a resume, basically not a resume, but the accomplishment of his life, and it's just impressive. He was a veteran. He was involved in Veterans Affairs. He was a father of 4 and a grandfather of 10 grandchildren. This is not a person. It's mind-numbing to realize that somebody out there will perpetuate this violence and this senselessness against somebody so decent. And I just want your family to know that, this isn't lost on a lot of us. We're just, I tell people about this and they shake their heads and they're just numb, So anyway, we'll go over the brief facts. We're trying to get people to, if maybe somebody saw something and on that date around, it's July 9th, which is summer 1 month. So you had the days are longer. So maybe somebody has seen something and they thought it was suspicious or out of the ordinary, and maybe they would want to call and leave information to maybe helpful lead to the rest of these people or peoples who are responsible for this. But anyway, we'll go into what would you want to cover, Julie and Tina? What would you want to make sure that people will understand about your father and your father-in-law?
Oh gosh, everything that he did, which was a very local member of his UAW Local 599. He did a lot of stuff there, which one of the things was the volunteering for the veterans. He went to visit all the veterans. The home, he started a letter. They let him take over a letter so that way you could write to veterans, take care of him. He worked in his local food pantry right there in Flint. It's the Tuesday Storehouse food distribution. It was at the Riverside Tabernacle Assembly of God. He had a lot of friends and people that he helped with there. Just that he did so much, and you just wonder who anybody heard anything, saw anything on, I think it was Friday, July 9th.
Well, actually, that's when we found him on the 9th, so it could have happened on the 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and he was, you speculate that he was probably sleeping when he was murdered, so that's even, I just couldn't understand somebody, just doing that, just walking in and murdering somebody in total cold blood. I mean, it's shocking, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, some of the other things that Dad did with the veterans, we loved that he would go to the casinos and he would ask the managers there for the decks of cards and the dice that were punched holes through that they weren't going to use anymore. And he would take those and he would go to the veterans' homes and deliver them. And then he would go to the churches, like Tina was saying, he would go to the churches and schools and ask everybody to write to these veterans. And then he would see when these veterans would get the letters what a difference it made to them. So he dedicated his life to volunteering, to doing things for other people. He did it without being asked. He just went. He was always doing something for somebody else. And at his funeral, this lady stood up. I didn't know who she was. She just was from his church, Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. And she stood up and she said, Pablo was nice to everyone, even the gang members. So I could even see him being nice to the homeless people and to the gang members on the, anybody on the street. He was always good to. So we really think that he has done so much for the community that we really would love if someone in the community would help us out and give us some closure because, like you said, he's got 10 grandchildren and all of us and his brothers and sisters and so many of his friends that miss him so much.
The thing is, I know it's scary. I know it's scary if you know something. You've got a pit in your stomach. You're afraid of what the retaliation could be, what it could do to you or your family.
To
speak up. That's the beauty of Crime Stoppers is that it's all nobody will know.
Yeah, Crime Stoppers. Now everybody in the Flint area probably knows the 800-422 jail number. But since we live in the Metro Detroit area, we had gotten hooked up with the division of Crime Stoppers down here. So it was 1-800-SPEAK-UP. And actually, it's a larger reward. So it's up to $2,500.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to get to a picture too where we have that, from the Crime Stoppers, advertisement that you're talking about. Right now we have a picture. I don't know if you can see it, but we have a picture of him.
Yeah.
Carrying a sign. I think that was when he was marching with Cesar Chavez for migrant workers' rights. That was several years ago, obviously, right?
Yeah, the one that he marched with Cesar Chavez was several years ago. But Flint's been doing the Cesar Chavez march. Was it? I'm not for sure how many years, but actually we're going to be there this Saturday, March 30th.
I think it's at noon, and it's at the U of M Flint campus. Mm-hmm. And they've got a Facebook page also, the March for Cesar Chavez.
Yes,
and last year that organization had a dinner because it was the anniversary of his death, was it? And they honored Pablo that night for all of his work with Cesar Chavez. So
now the picture we have presently up is the billboard. You Know Who Killed Me, July 9th, 2011, Crime Stoppers, and 1-800-SPEAK-UP, and that was on the corner of Dart Highway, Missouri, wasn't it? That billboard.
Yep, that was, and then after that we had it at Richfield and Center, I think, and then after that we put it up at Dort and Atherton. Does that sound right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we're going to put some more up this summer just to keep it out there. Hopefully we won't need to. Hopefully this radio show will help us to reach out to someone to do the right thing, and even if it has to be anonymous, or call the police department. They're really helping us out with this. So
now and the thing is, it's an admirable thing that the police here in Flint just have. I could be very critical on some things they've done infuriating me, but the reality is they're just overwhelmed with the violence, with the murders. I wouldn't even want to step in their shoes because they have to handle this on almost a day-to-day basis. And there's something similar to this. And even if a person's involved in the illicit drug trade, they got decent family members who are affected by their lifestyle, and they're getting murdered, and it's they're somebody's son or daughter, child, or niece or nephew. That's one thing I think people we kind of get callous to the fact that these people who get killed who are even involved in the illegal trades of drugs and violence and stuff. Yeah. These are somebody's family members. I mean, it's just so you can't just casually walk on by. And when I saw that this individual was decent, man. I mean, I remember when this happened, and and I just, it's just so much goes on around here in Flint. You're saying, well, maybe they got to get to the bottom of the case, and when you hear they didn't, I feel now we have this vehicle to do this. That maybe we can do this more often, talk to family members, and maybe get that information revitalized out there, sent back out there. Maybe somebody's watching this or listening to this. Maybe they overheard somebody talking about it. Maybe it's a family or a friend, and they feel reluctant to step forward. But for people, this individual, Pablo, did not deserve to die like this.
No,
and so
when he hadn't shown up for a family function, of course we all just thought that he like diabetic shock or something. We would have never thought anything like this. So it's been extremely tragic for our family. We're very, very close, and we're surviving it, but it's really difficult.
Yes, it was hard. I have 4 daughters, and 3 of them have been through therapy, which was really hard. But hopefully they got the help. One was having nightmares and drew pictures of Grandpa being shot. I mean, think of that in the minds of a 9, 10, and 11-year-old. To know what happened to their grandpa. And then they're wondering, well, why isn't anybody saying anything? Why isn't anybody saying anything, Mommy? And I said, somebody will. We just say prayers. We'll say prayers, and we got to pray for them for strength to speak up. So that's what we're doing.
As you're speaking, I hear the emotion in your voice. I mean, that just drives it home that this kind of violence, it's totally senseless, incomprehensible to us, but yet somebody commits this kind of stuff. And when you sit down beside these people, across the table from these people, to me, it's like I like to crawl in their head and see what rationalization they could come up with. What can motivate them to be so brutal. Just murdering somebody in cold blood like this.
The picture you have up on the screen was the weekend of July 4th of 2011. That was the last day that we saw Dad. And we're so thankful that we all happened to bring our cameras out, which we happen to do at a lot of family functions. But Dad always wanted to get in the pictures and everything. And the other thing that I have here in my office is a picture of my 3 boys, and it's in a frame. It says Grandpa. And that one is hard for me to look at because it was in his bedroom. Mm. And I just think, how does somebody go into kill someone when they look at these babies and these pictures, looking, knowing that he's got a family that loves him? I mean, obviously they don't care. They absolutely don't care, but I just don't know how other people out there know who did this. And they've got to have a heart.
I would hope. I mean, but some people just seem to. We have a component in our brains, in our heart, whatever, conscience, whatever. Some people don't seem to possess that. I mean, and then I have often wondered what creates these kind of people. Sometimes some of them come from good families, they're not abused. We don't know anything about this individual or individuals who may have done this. But I just can't. It's incomprehensible to us, especially you. I mean, it's like, and it's what's. I really think it's touching too. As well, I have both the daughter-in-law as well as his daughter on the phone with me right now, and both of you have just so much emotion and love for them, and that's that's really kind of unusual for a daughter-in-law to love her father-in-law as much as you seem to.
Did you? Julie was like a daughter.
Yeah.
Dad didn't go by in-laws. You were either son or daughter.
Yeah,
so he treated everyone. We treated all of us the same. He loved all of us.
Yeah, we were really close. So he used to help me in the yard with my gardens, and all I would have to do is feed him. So he loved to eat, so he helped me in the yard a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't stop. I won't stop because if this was us, he would never stop.
Yeah, I know he wouldn't. He just sounded like an incredible individual. I wish I had I wish I had the chance to actually sit down and talk to this man, because he just, I'm looking at what you sent me about him, and he just seems so involved in the community, so involved in the world, actually. I mean, that march with Chavez and stuff like that that was 60s, 70s, because I remember hearing about that when I was, in junior high and elementary school. I mean, he was involved for a long time, and also he's instrumental, I think, in getting this street here called Chavez named after Cesar Chavez, the Migrant Farm Workers Union president. This has got to taken place like 20-some years ago, because the one here in Flint has been here named for 20-some years. And it's interesting. It's an interesting note that as you said, he was one of the first. This was one of the first cities to adopt a street and name it after this man. So,
which is interesting, because I mean, you would think that would be like somewhere in California or Texas, but in or even somewhere where there's more migrant workers, where this is city of automotive. So why would it get named here? And it's because of the people who fought for it to get renamed here.
Yeah, that was just, I remember that change taking place, because I'm a lifelong resident of Flint, so I remember when that happened, and that was got to easily 23, 24 years ago, because I mean, it was named. The name change was way before my niece was born, so it's got to be even closer, maybe to 30. So that was a long time ago. It's
that's where the march will take place Saturday. So anybody's welcome to come out, see what it was all about. So it's a very educational day. Also, they put on a nice performance, and the music is wonderful, and so.
No, it's just. But anyway, I don't know. Obviously, some people you mentioned the grandchildren having this reaction about it, and his sons and daughters being impacted on this, and also all the people he was connected to in the different veterans organizations. I mean, this is something I think maybe we should do. I wish we could do for each murder victim. Is bring out the people who are seriously affected by the senselessness of these murders. I mean, I think that's something that's got to be driven home. I'd like to see us develop more of a conscience as a country and as a people. And it seems like, I don't know what's going on in the minds of these people in this country. I really don't. It's shocking. But then again, I don't know if it's any, of course, I've only lived one lifetime, so I don't know if it was ever different any time else. But I mean, it just seems that this senselessness just seems to be on the rise. And I'd like to see it cease, obviously.
I find that what some of the reactions, like, if you haven't been through anything horrendous, if you haven't been through anything tragic, you don't really get the sense. There's people and they're praying and they're behind you and they're helping, but like I said before, it's like we keep living this. It's day by day by day, and you do live your life, and other people's lives go on. And that's what it's like for all the victims of violence. It's something you have to deal with, and some thankfully do find answers, some do not, and you've got to live with that. And, thankfully, Dad has a daughter-in-law who is going to fight until we find an answer, and I'm going to be right there with her.
One thing I would like to see, John, because when this first happened to us, we hadn't been really involved in crime before or have it affect us too much. And we were kind of just left out there. We didn't know what to do. So I would like to start some sort of program, or I don't even know, maybe a manual or something, how to help other people right off the bat. Have the families, anybody out there right now listening, if a crime has happened to you, contact Crime Stoppers and ask them, what can I do? What can you do? How can you help me? Because we feel a little bit more empowered because we've got Crime Stoppers helping us out. Like, they got us the flyers, they printed them out for us, and then we distributed them. They did put up a billboard, and then we've, as a family, has paid for that the other times. But I know people are, having troubles financially, but they can help out with even making some of these copies. And if then you feel like you're doing something, and you are doing something, because when you get that Crime Stoppers out there, then hopefully someone will call in a tip anonymously.
And maybe, this is a thought I was talking, as you were talking, this murder and the murder of Pablo might have been one who murdered some other people. And
exactly.
And then Nancy, the murder of the airline stewardess a few years ago, Nancy Ludwig down in Detroit Metro, across from Detroit Metro Airport, was the one that actually helped break the case for the murder victim Margaret Eby, who was a professor at U of M. And I had her for a class when she was murdered over at U of M.
Wow.
And over on the Mott Estate, too. So, I mean, you never know when you can get one person and it just cracks all these other cases. It's the pivotal point, the tipping point. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that this wasn't the first time for this person, and it won't be the last. So we've got to save other families from this happening to them.
Yeah, anyway, I can't imagine this. And it was like, I'm looking at the date of his, birth and death and all that. And he was just only a few days away from turning 69 when he was murdered. So they just cut his life so short of, actually having another year, going. I just can't understand that. I can't understand where, I mean, if it wasn't, was there any indication of robbery, by the way? I mean, or anything? I didn't cover that. I mean, was there anything missing in the house or?
Not that we know of. Dad didn't have a lot of stuff. he always said, well, I was born poor, I'm going to die poor. And he really didn't have anything of value. So we looked around and we didn't see anything missing. So I really don't know.
It's just a shocking, totally senseless, murder of a decent family man. I mean, that's... But then again, I don't want people to think that I'm callous. I mean, I know that some people who are involved in the drug trade they found that they believe that to be the only option in their life, especially in an area such as Flint, where there's such a lack of opportunity economically for everybody here. But
well, I know what you're saying, because I've been reading the Flint Journal so much more now, and I see these crimes and of these young kids, and the moms, their quote is, "He was such a good kid. He wasn't in trouble." And it just breaks my heart when I see those articles. I feel so bad for those moms.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine being I had a grandmother taken from me in a car accident when I was about 8 or 9, maybe 10. I was about 10 years old. She was killed in the car accident, and that was horrific. But that was an accident, and it was like, you deal with it because you have to. But you're with a murder victim such as your father and your father-in-law here. You're always speculating why they did this, why they chose him, why did they stalk him? I mean, could you imagine that? And we obviously you probably have, so I don't want to go into the darker thing, but all those kind of thoughts go in your head. I mean, was he stalked? Was it they seeking him out for what affront did he commit to them that they thought they had to do this to him? I mean, all those kind of things probably pass through all of your minds at different points. So I mean,
well, not knowing has been extremely difficult. But when we do find out why, it's going to be really hard also, because it's going to be probably for some stupid reason. I mean, no matter what it is, it's going to be difficult. But we need to have these answers, because not knowing is, it's horrible.
Yeah, I can't. No, that's probably every day. I mean, now, do you ever, when you're up in the Flint area, do you ever go by somebody and you're saying, I wonder if that person knows? I mean, they can...
No.
I think I would.
We don't go up there too often.
Yeah, I can't blame you either. I mean, and which is a sad commentary too, because we had a picture of the house up, and on one of the posters, and then I guess you told me it's been basically ransacked, gutted, and destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What a
Yeah. Then the houses next door all burned down. His house got heat damage on that. Everything got stripped out. We got his personal things out of there, but everything else is pretty much stripped down, and it looks like a ghost town there now. And when he lived there, it was beautiful. He took care of his landscape, and he was very proud to be a citizen of Flint. And he loved his neighbors. They all loved him. Most of them were older women, and they just really liked him. And he took care of them. So, he would bring groceries, and everybody really liked him. So.
Yeah, I grew up, as like I said, lifelong resident of the East Side. I've seen, this is like, it's gut-wrenching to see what's happened in the past 5 years. This is the past 5 years here. I mean, exactly what you said, it's become a wasteland, a ghost town. It's.
Yeah, my son was like, Mom, why would anybody even move to Flint? And I'm like, it was really a beautiful place to live a few years ago, and actually the downtown area is nice, and we just have to, I mean, I know they're working so hard at getting that revitalized. It's a difficult task, but for us, we just keep praying for Flint and for the city of Flint and for everybody there that it can turn around.
Yeah, I'm here every day, and I do the shows, and I have Flint Talk Radio, and me and my business partner Steve Myers, we own this, and we've tried to do as much as we could to bring positive attention to Flint, and but I think it's just like it's a hard battle for us to actually maintain a front that we're not disgusted, we're not discouraged, because I just seen the East Side sink beneath a wave of just totally oblivious, just totally destroyed in the past 5 years, and that's also gut-wrenching.
Don't give up, though. Don't give up. It's a hard battle. Things are always a hard battle, and it's hard to sometimes keep going. But you guys are making a difference in small ways and little ways, big ways. So at least you're making a difference.
I appreciate that. It's like when I hear stories like this, though, and even the ones where the people are involved in the drug trade, and some people would say they're getting what they deserve. Like I said, I just can't see that. I mean, nobody should have to pay for this kind of stuff with their life, and especially, Pablo. I mean, he, from all indications, this man is just basically, he loved his life, he loved his family. We need millions more of people like Pablo. Pablo, we need more people like your family members. It's like I said, I can't help but cover this and just feel like the wind going out of the sails when you're talking about a man who's like this and he gets murdered, because none of us are safe, and none of us, there's no, and then when it does happen to us, if it does happen to us, some people out there are just going to just so cavalierly go through their life, and it's like, and we know that's got to be done. We've done it ourselves, but there should be more of a pause. There should be more of anger. There should be more of outrage, but we only can sustain that for so long, because you got to basically go on. You can't live so angry and so intense. But we just definitely hope that this kind of coverage maybe prompts somebody who might have seen something or heard something to connect with this family, to say, look, these people have to have closure. There was no reason for this to happen. There's no way I can justify not coming forward with this information I may have. So we hope that's the case. Is there I'm looking, like I said, to, the list of accomplishments that Pablo engaged in his lifetime. I don't know.
Well, the one thing on this list that Dad was extremely proud of was when he renamed the post office's Veterans Memorial Post Office. One was in his hometown, Gagetown. And it was such a proud day for him. It was a lot of hard work getting that passed and renamed. But he just loved the veterans so much. He would go up to anybody on the street, a veteran on the street, and he would shake their hand. And he says, "Thank you for your service." And when there was a funeral in Michigan for a fallen soldier, he would drive to the funeral, thank the parents for their son or daughter's service, and ask if he could stand at the casket saluting. And he would do that all on his own time, because he loved the United States and he loved the men and women who served our country.
Yeah, like I said, I wish I did have the pleasure of knowing this man, but then again, when he was murdered, it would probably just have been another stab in the heart, to see them die so sudden. And it's happened before. I've seen old people in this town years ago just to get mugged, and that was devastating enough. As I was a child when I saw that happen. But this is just totally senseless that I can understand. There's no real reason for this. There's nothing. Even if there was a reason, murders are horrific. But such a decent man. Such a decent individual. When
we told our kids that night, my family, we were on vacation, and it was probably one of the hardest things we've ever had to do. We took our boys into a bedroom and told them what happened, and our oldest was 16 at the time, and his eyes were filled with tears, and he just said, "Why would someone do that to Grandpa?" And we don't have that answer still. We're like, we don't know. We don't know. That's something that I will carry with me forever.
And it's like, but I just, I'm just so struck by the fact too that it's like the like the daughter-in-law and the daughter both are just so caught up with this and so working together on this that and that doesn't happen too often.
Well, that's how I met the family. Is my Tina. We were teammates in college.
Okay.
So I fell in love with the Lopez family.
That does happen when you're dating somebody. You get when it does break up, and I hope that doesn't happen for you. But when there is a breakup, you feel not only lost for that relationship, for all the other relationships, and and everybody feels guilty if they actually talk to each other.
I'm pretty down on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you feel kind of guilty, because you're like, you liked your sister or brother was going out with somebody, and you liked their family members, and now you meet up, and there's like this awkward silence and pause, like, hey, we liked each other, but we're not supposed to know because they're broke up, but, but I hope that doesn't happen, though. I hope that doesn't happen. No, so I just, but anyway, now as we're wrapping this up, because I think that any kind of message has got to be kind of relatively short. But I mean, we definitely, I think, have made it, a real dent.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and hopefully, this will have made a difference in someone's heart.
Thank you.
And they can always call the Flint Police Department. Sergeant David Bigelow is the man on the case.
Yeah, just anyway, also, any contact information you want to, you also have a Facebook for this, Justice for Pablo.
Yeah, Justice for Pablo Lopez.
That's right. And I liked it, so, and also I'm looking for that for updates and stuff, and I can also...
Yeah, and there's, a lot of different TV interviews and some Flint Journal articles are on there. So, and people can, if they want to post a picture of if they were friends with him, that would be fine, too.
And hopefully, and I'll post this too when it's done, wrapped up. I'll post this video on there, and you can repost it and reshare it wherever you wish. So that's one thing. The reason why we offer this for is because the shareability, I guess you'd call it, the way you can just take this and send it everywhere. So you could take the link and and if later on if you don't know how to do that, I can show you. I can talk you through it on the phone if you want to call me back later if there's any problems with that. But just Tina and Julie, I am so sorry to have to meet you under these circumstances. I wish we could have met maybe at a event that he was, part of or something like that and covering. But, life doesn't a lot of times give you the best opportunities to meet people under. But I really feel, like I met a decent group of people here. So, and I hope.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate everything.
Thank you, John.
Anyway, before we part though, is there any kind of information out there you want to give out so people can write down or whatever, and I could, can get it out there? Is there any other contact information you'd like to give out at this time?
Well, just to remember that the 1-800-SPEAK UP number has got a $2,500 reward. And if they want to call the 422, that's fine. It's a $1,000 reward. But you can't do both. But either way, either phone call will anonymously get to our detective.
Okay. Well, again, I'd like to, say thank you for allowing this interview to go on. And again, I would like to extend my sympathies and condolences to your family. But I hope in some small way I've helped to try to bring this, to a close for your family. So I hope this has some kind of effect. And I think you all do too. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.